Welcome to the Fire Family Collective podcast, the show dedicated to supporting the unsung heroes of the fire service, the wives, partners, and families who hold down the fort while their firefighters serve.
All right, welcome back to the Fire Family Collective podcast. I am Alex, and I am hosting today. We have a little bit of a different type of guest here, and I actually have my husband here. So this is Kyle.
Hi.
Hey, Kyle. And he is coming on, and we're going to change it up a little bit and bring a spouse's perspective, and maybe just a unique twist on what we normally talk about. So, Kyle, if you would just introduce yourself, give a little bit of your background with the service, because we're going to get into that, and also how you got into firefighting, because that'll probably come up at some point too.
Okay. So I've been in the fire service for roughly 5 years now. Before that, I grew up around it. My dad was on a department for 31 years. So he's been in the fire service ever since I grew up knowing it. As far as all of that, I went to college straight out of high school, went into education.
I think you started that with I don't want to be a firefighter.
It was always Dad's thing. That was kind of the factor on it. It was going to be Dad's route. It was a great backup for me if I ever decided that I wanted to kind of fall back on something. But I decided I was going to blaze my own trail. Went to college, started teaching, coaching. Did that for about 4 years before I decided I think I want to upgrade that, and went back to get my master's degree. That went for a whole semester or so and saw the struggles and all of that. And ironically, we took the football team to go see a fire station as far as we had a philanthropy thing we were trying to get done for the off season, and went in, and we were supposed to do this big community project, and the guys at the station just said, nah, we're going to let you do the cool stuff. We're going to talk to you about being firemen and everything. And with the second I walked into that station, I smelled the same cleaners that my dad had used 25 years earlier, and
the nostalgia hit.
It triggered a memory, and I called my dad up and said, hey, I need you to talk me off a ledge, because I'm still getting my master's degree in education and everything. And he told me, sorry, buddy, wrong person to call.
He did not talk you off back from the ledge. He talked you off the ledge. Is that the way to?
He initially said, hey, I'm going to push you now. And
yeah, he pushed you off. Yeah.
Here we are. So.
Well, and I think it's important to say too, in your career, if we didn't mention, or if you haven't listened to another episode, we're from the West Texas area, and he was coaching in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And so it's interesting, just his transition. People always ask, how was the time? How do you adjust to a fire schedule? And it's well, when you coach high school football in Texas, I think that schedule is the only schedule that might be worse.
Yeah.
There were many 24, 48, 96, there's 72 in there, I don't know, weeks that I wouldn't see him. He would come home and sleep for 2 hours. So I think that your career change, yes, you had it as a backup, but you kind of had burnout is a good way to put it. I guess burnout from that first career pushed you to call your dad.
Yeah, for sure. That was the whole reason for looking into changing, getting out of the classroom and into administration, was the schedule, and burned out from having it done, and then moved into something else. And I say it to everybody else, but now my worst day in the fire service is better than my best days anywhere else.
Yeah. Yeah. And we've talked about, just that transition. And like you said, your dad talking you into it. So let's kind of back up a little bit. We mentioned your dad was on the department for 31-ish years. And so you grew up around it. I asked you earlier today, because I don't think I knew. He was a firefighter when you were born. Mm-hmm. Was that when he was at the Navy?
Yeah, he did. He started off right out of high school, got hired on, and did a stint for 6 or 8 years, and then decided to enlist. Did 4 years in the Navy, and then came back and finished out the rest of his career, and retired 20 years after that. So.
But all you know is the fire life.
Yeah.
You never had a dad on a 9 to 5.
Nope. Nope, he was always, Kelly schedule, so that's what we grew up with, and so
Again, look that up because it's so hard to explain.
but yeah, so I grew up knowing that, and it was always, predictable, knowing when he was gonna be on and when he was gonna be off, and then I also knew that I'd always be working on his days off as I grew up and got enlisted into helping him out on all his side jobs.
Yeah. So what was that like being and I want you to kind of think about this in perspective of you being a firefighter now. What was having your growing up as a child of a firefighter? What are some things that maybe you experienced, or just differences with that life, that have kind of fueled what you maybe do with our kids now, or how you see the job now? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
So just knowing, and the schedule's kind of the defining factor, especially as a kid. You're always trying to figure out when mom and dad are going to be around to be able to do things.
Mhm.
So just, everybody makes that sacrifice of trying to be at games or practices or events, recitals, whatever it is that we're all getting involved into. And just knowing that just because I'm on shift now and I can't make it to, as it always seems, we got something
We
going
just got
on.
something today. I was like, "Oh, her recital or no, kinder graduation."
Hmm.
I was like, "Oh, of course you're on shift."
Yeah.
I
So,
think that was my exact reaction this
and,
morning.
and just making sure that the kid, my girls now know that, it's not I'm not
You don't want to
yeah, I'm
miss.
not I don't want to miss. I still want to be there. It's something that I can't help, obviously. But just making sure that they know that even though I'm not there, I want to be there, and it's not like it's a holiday or a vacation for me when I'm
At the
unable to
station.
get there. Yeah.
Yeah. Was your dad still intentional about making sure he was involved in not just being your dad when he's there, but, in your life growing up?
Oh yeah, yeah. And it was every opportunity. We used to have a old tradition too. He would take me and my sister in the car on Saturday mornings, and we'd go get donuts and chocolate milk. And then he would drive us around town to different sides of town that we didn't grow up on, but he also grew up on some of those sides of town, and then he worked on different stations throughout the city, and just kind of gave us little life lessons and lectures and things as we drove around Saturday mornings eating donuts and picked up on what we could, but just seeing how other people live, and getting us to appreciate what we had. So he'd always come up with creative ways to make sure that we're.
Well, I think that also gave you perspective growing up, maybe? I mean, you've done that to me. We've gotten coffee, and all of a sudden, we're on the tour of our town, and he's like, "Oh, yeah, we fought this fire here. Remember that story I told you? That was right here." I'm like,
Mhm.
"Okay." 3 hours later. But it's been interesting because when you grow up in a certain area or maybe you grow up in a town, or you live in a town that your spouse works in a different town. We've talked about that on here too. A lot of, bigger metroplex people or firefighters maybe live in one suburb and work in another. But I love that he instilled that in you and you didn't just grow up in your bubble. You got to see even where he grew up. He grew up on a whole different side
Mhm.
of town
Yeah,
too.
just getting to experience more of the city, more of the people around, because we're all guilty of falling within our own bubbles and not really
Yeah.
expanding beyond that.
And gave you that perspective,
Yeah.
which I think has helped as you've grown up. Like you worked with and you taught kids from a different demographic and different economic status than you grew up in. You now serve people of all different
Mhm.
uniqueness. I'm just going to put it all in that one word instead of having to go down the list. But um, so, kind of in that same idea of when you were growing up, were there things that you observed with your parents and their marriage and how they worked together or how the family dynamic was when dad was at the station and when he was home and they were together? I don't know, things that stick out to you in your memory or also things that you take into our marriage now.
Yeah, so, I mean, I can't lie and say it wasn't different when mom and dad were, when mom was home and dad was at the station and vice versa.
Our kids would probably say the
Uh,
same.
it was there's definitely a different dynamic going on, but, it's funny, fire families are comprised of two very strong individuals that are stronger together, but we have to be able to separate and also still run a household, and that's where a lot of the, sacrifice comes on the end of the spouse.
Yeah, I
Uh
think fire spouses first responder spouses. I mean, your sister unfortunately married a cop. We will hold that against her.
She's still in the family though, so.
For now. But there's this independence that we have to have. And I think some people naturally are that way. I think I was a little bit independent already. And then some people, we have a lot of friends that we've talked to that they have had to grow into that. Like, how do I run the household by myself without feeling super overwhelmed? But it is different. You do have to have to be independent individuals.
And of course, I wasn't in on all the conversations at night between mom and dad and everything, but you could tell that they communicated. And I feel like that's probably the biggest thing was they knew what the expectation was with each other and with what needed to get done and how it was going to get done. And even though there were still obvious differences between them whenever one was home and one wasn't, everything still got done and we still got to the goal that they were intending for us as a family.
Well, you've mentioned too the difference in when dad was at the station versus when dad was home, just the dynamic shift. I think your mom, it's multiplied by 50 with the grandkids, but I think she's the easier one out of the two. And I think she would say that and he would say that too.
And it's, of course, she's gotten a lot more lives with grandkids because apparently that's
they
just what
always
you do.
Eat candy all the time.
Yeah, for sure. It's one of those I look at her and say, I would never have gotten away with
your
that.
Dad even, but
but no, it was, Dad was, I joke, growing up, I always called him the taskmaster just because he would come in and have those expectations of we're going to get this done today because this is what needs to get done today. And it's kind of it's something I've realized now that I've gotten further into my career here. He ran the house a lot like a fire station, and I've picked up on why he did things the way he did. Makes so much more sense now.
And now you do it here.
Now I'm guilty of getting it done.
We will not get into the dishwasher discussions. Okay.
It's a very good system. We'll put it that way.
It's a system.
It's a system.
But yeah, he ran a lot of your home efficiently, I guess, and you learned that from the station.
Yeah, and it gave me a lot of we do it with our kids now too, it's that distribution of responsibilities, right? Everybody has certain things that they're responsible for at the fire station on shift. Lower guys are doing this and the senior guys are doing this. The officers are responsible for whatever it is. And it kind of breaks its way down in the house the same way. It's the girls, as soon as they get a certain age, they're going to
pick up dog poop because that's a job that the captain doesn't want to do.
Yeah.
Sorry, captain.
No. We all know who's in charge.
But yeah, so you did, you've gotten some perspective now that you're on the department yourself of, oh, that's why Dad did that.
Yeah.
That's why he was giving us rakes as our birthday gift.
Yeah, there were lots of epiphanies that I've had over the last couple of years, and I've had those conversations with him and said, I'm sorry I didn't understand now or then. I do now.
Yeah.
And
yeah. So how did you ever notice days maybe when your dad had a hard call or had a hard night and his kind of re-entry to home?
So I never really noticed it. He was pretty good at keeping everything separate and either decompressing before or after. Like I said, he did work second job like a lot of us do. And most of the time he would come in and get straight to that. And then I would notice that he wasn't coming home directly afterwards. It was one of those like, no, Dad will be home later. He's going to go, he's having dinner with a couple friends or whatever it was. Come to find out later, it was him with his crew or him with other guys that he's on the department with that were going out and discussing things and having their own little debriefs and kind of processing what was happening, whether it's drama on the department, calls that they ran, things going on with the city, all the stuff that we all deal with. But then keeping that kind of compartmentalized away from home and more on his own shoulders and on the guys that were all there helping support us. And then he would come home and be a dad and didn't have to really worry about that. And that's a struggle that we all do. I know I come home beat down after shifts and just all I want to do is just be able to reset. And if I can do that, take a 2-hour nap, reset and just come out, I'm a lot easier to deal with, but that we don't always get that luxury.
Yeah. I can't imagine your dad he worked heating and air. And so like you said, you got roped into climbing through sweaty attics and and that was the one thing you said. You're like, I'm not doing heating in
Yeah.
there. Heck to the no.
Mhm.
And so you now teach at the academy here, and that's kind of your second job, which thankfully, I mean, it's great. It
Yeah.
takes your previous career and bridges that gap.
Mhm.
But um it's crazy to think, like, there's so many days you come home and you're just completely exhausted. And there are some days you don't teach, so you get the luxury if I'm at work, that you get to come home and take a nap. But a lot of guys, like, they don't get that.
Mhm.
And so, I don't know, just, like, maybe what advice I don't know if, other firefighter spouses are gonna listen to this, but how can we, as fire wives, support y'all, or um, when we know, like, sometimes you just need rest. And I
Mhm.
know that was early in your career, that was hard for me.
Mhm.
I'd be like, no, like, you can have a nap later. We have kids we have to take care of, and I've been keeping them alive for the last 24 hours by myself. You get to change this diaper.
Mhm.
And you're like, if you would just let me sleep for an hour.
Yeah, the ever
So don't think we have this perfect.
no, no. The ever sacred safety nap is usually what I try to
The
go at.
safety nap.
Safety nap's what we decide is necessary. And it gets into the same situations here. I mean, just figuring out what your spouse is capable of and how they handle their own stress and everything. I'm one of those that if I can just decompress by myself for, like I said, an hour or so, I'm usually a little bit better than having to jump right in and dealing with people again. My social,
Your social, not meter,
not
but
yeah, my
tank
tank.
is
Yeah,
empty.
I've started. It's been drained, and then having to deal with it is the hard part. And the hardest thing I deal with is I know that I have a strong family and I know that we're here for each other. And that's usually the first place that I let my guard slide when I
Mm.
shouldn't. It's a duty to be with the public and to deal with all of their stuff that I need to because it's my job. And then when I come home, I have that realization of I don't have to do that. No one's forcing me
We'll
to,
still be here and you won't get fired.
it's a thing I struggle with specifically because I
Yeah.
know that's not how it should be, but it's one of those things we're still working through. But
Yeah, well, we've talked about that where, like, at work, you can't let something slip because someone's life is at stake. You could get fired. Like, you can't say no.
yeah, there's
Where
no
at
way.
home, you're like, if I say no to this and go take a nap instead, like, we'll work it out
Yeah,
later.
we'll
She'll forgive
we'll
me,
still be here. Yeah.
And so it is easy to fall into, for me, it's easy. I mean, on the spouse side, I'll speak for myself, but it's easy to fall into a resentment
Hmm.
in that. Um, and we've had many times where we've had to talk each other out of that.
Hmm. And it causes me to resent myself for the same reasons. I
Yeah.
mean, does
And I think that's good to hear because a lot of times I think, oh, he's just mad because I'm pissed off that he has to take a nap. Like, and he's mad at me because I won't let him take a nap. But to know that, like, you're missing being home
mhm.
just as much because I feel like you get to go to the station and just hang out with your boys.
Which is true, and that's why I love this
And
job.
I'm here changing diapers,
But
like,
but there's great days, and then there's not so great days, and it's still even the greatest days there. We all wish we were still back home and getting to be with family instead of having to deal with the things we deal with.
yeah, yeah. I think that's been something we've had to work through.
Mhm.
And I mean, we still do. We
Yeah,
still
still
have
work in
many,
progress.
it
There's
comes up a lot.
by
We still
no
have
means are we
conversations.
perfect, nor am I. So
Yeah. So on those days, I mean, when the shift is heavy, maybe you had a bad call, or like the other day, y'all didn't run a call all day, but then all night you were up. And so
I'm still blaming the rookie for that one.
okay. Note to rookies out there and rookie spouses, don't ever say,
It's the Q word, it's the whatever you
yeah,
wanna call it, just like in baseball, it's the no-hitter. You don't talk about it if that's what's going on, because immediately it's going to change, and that's what happened. The rookie decided to,
at the dinner table, right?
speak up about his displeasure of how the shift has been going, and so the universe said, "Hold your, just sit
Hold my
down, bud.
beer.
We'll show you how this is gonna go."
Yeah,
And lucky for him, I decided to take the report, so I stayed up all night. He did not have to, but
of course. So on those days when it is kind of hard, or maybe when you come home, you just need that moment to decompress, to take a nap. You don't want to talk to anyone. what's the biggest thing, I guess, that we can do as spouses or family, even our kids could do to just help you out?
Communication, you're gonna hear that throughout the fire service all the time. That's what we always focus on because it's the most important thing. And in life too, being able to talk to people and understanding the expectations between each other is your biggest thing. So, just kind of having a, I guess, doomsday situation
Mm.
ready to go. Code words, what you just reading each other's mental and physical beings when you walk in. Like all of us have that look when we're physically tired. Kind of noticing that, and I understand we're all busy with our own things. We have our own agendas for the day. But having that discussion beforehand is probably the easiest way to get that at
Mhm.
least started.
So that you're not just like, ah,
Yeah,
when it
so
happens.
yeah, so it's not like
You have a plan.
yeah,
You
you
have
have
an
a
emergency
plan,
plan.
you're able to at least know kind of how you're gonna attempt to handle things. Of course, nothing ever goes to plan. But it's better than sitting there winging it and just trying to, poke holes and maybe this will work. And that's usually going to just never end
Yeah.
the way it needs to.
At
So
some point, you have to sit down and make the plan, like just like you would make a fire escape route for your house,
yes,
which
yeah.
we should do.
Which we kind of already had that. Oh, yeah, the fire escape thing for sure. But the other thing with us is we've had this weird thing in our relationship. Anytime we start to do a major factor of life or next step in the relationship or anything, we have a discussion about it.
We have lots of discussions.
Whether it's over coffee or more
It's like,
formal
are we
than
ever
that.
actually going to do it? I don't
Yeah,
know.
but we will sit and hash out the whole idea before it ever even happens. I'm fairly certain we weighed the pros and cons before we first kissed.
Probably.
So
Cons. Just kidding.
there's plenty.
But communication is
Yeah.
huge. What are some things maybe that I mean I don't even know because it's all in your brain, but you intentionally do to show up for us at home, to show up for me, to show up for the girls. What are some things that you intentionally do to reconnect with us? And maybe even you're about to tell me something I never noticed that you did. I don't know.
Uh,
Or maybe I'm making you think about it.
yeah, maybe. Yeah. I know one thing that I always kind of get to, and there's a lot of guys that are like this. We're very good domestics. The fire station makes us
Yeah,
that
I don't
way.
cook anymore. When he was coaching, I had to cook all the time, and he will never let me make salsa chicken ever again. Um,
I mean, 22
but
times in a row is
the solution to that is, become a firefighter so that you can cook, and now I don't have to.
so, but yeah, like the small things, looking around, and of course, with a house full of kids and everything else going on, nothing's ever clean. And those
Or maybe
days,
that's just us.
can-
Surely not.
but just the ability to come home and take that quick break, and then it's like, okay, what can I do to make things better and easier for all of us? Whether that's I go grocery shopping, I'm already used to doing it every shift that I go out, so I can go do grocery shopping. I can meal plan. I can pick up the little things, do the ever argumentative dishwasher. Uh,
Thought we were
just
over that.
we'll never be over
Oh,
that.
okay.
But anyway, just the simple things like that, small tasks that are menial but mean a lot.
Yeah.
Um, and don't necessarily do it for the noticement of it. It's not really a word, but
But that's what I get overwhelmed with.
yes. And so that's my small way of saying if I can keep up with this, and I know that she doesn't have that hanging over her head
You're
anymore.
serving me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's that acts of service thing that
Yeah.
I try to be a little bit better of. And then I know too, because of how you are, the being able, once you're home, that's all done so that we can have that personal relationship again and have that,
Yeah.
time together.
Well, and I think that's a different dynamic too. It would be interesting to get a stay-at-home mom's opinion.
Mhm.
I do work full time, and so my 6 o'clock by the time I get home to 8:30 at night, that's when I have time to do something, or on the weekends. And the weekends, of course, I want to not do anything because I've been doing stuff all week. And so days when luckily you are off and you're not teaching, it doesn't go unnoticed when things get done
Mhm.
because then I can come home from work and I can just decompress instead of having to do the 87
Yeah.
things.
Which, that's kind of the other side of all this, is realizing myself that I'm not the only one with a stressful job. And on my days off that I'm home, when she does come home with the kids and everything, and letting her have that time to decompress and having the conversations back and forth, because it definitely works both ways.
Well, we've had many conversations where like, well, you're home And I'm like, "Well, no, I was at work."
Mhm.
Like, I was home for maybe 2 hours before
Yeah.
we went to bed. Because when the kids go to bed, if he's not here, I go to bed.
Mhm.
So, I'll be grandma on those
Yeah.
nights.
And it's the same thing too, you know, she'll say, "Well, you had the day off. What did you do all day?" I said, "Well, I decided I was gonna go play golf, or I needed to do a project, or, you know,
Take a
I
nap for
was
6
enlisted to
hours.
help my dad yet again," because that
You'll
still
never get
happens.
out of that.
No, but he at least is repaying me and helping me with all my things,
Yeah.
so
So we've talked this is kind of a shift, but we've talked about how, sometimes for the firefighter, it is easy for the job to encompass your life. It's easy to make that your whole identity. And it's easy for families too. I think we are a fire family, and that's like your whole identity. I talked in a previous episode with Amanda that I was on about you looked at me one day and were like, dude, you need a hobby. And I said,
It
what's a hobby?
I don't know, it's funny though, because once we figured that out, the calendar, every time you do
Calendar
have
got
your hobby, it
yeah,
got real full, but the calendar event title was "Alex found a hobby."
yeah. But finding, things outside of the fire service
Mhm.
to also be in your identity.
Yeah.
It's really easy to, have the job swallow up your whole life, and when it does, I mean, when things go bad, when you have a bad call, I think it affects you a little bit more when you don't have anything outside of that. So how do you handle it, um, like, just making sure that that's not all you are? You're not just everybody's hero.
Yeah. I let's be real, the cops are everybody's heroes. Uh, but, just, having a hobby and just realizing this is a job. I feel like a lot of guys get bogged down in thinking that they're going to be the ones to change things in their department, and that when they're done, they will have left a lasting legacy that everybody will connect back to them, and everyone will talk about how great things were when this guy was there.
Mm,
And that is the case for some, but the overwhelming majority is, you know, the next iteration of whoever's next to you will come in, and then by the time somebody replaces him,
then I gotta know who you are.
yeah, the policies you wrote that you worked so hard and spent all that time away from your family and doing all the other stuff for have either been overwritten or have been changed because somebody else decided they were going to do the exact same thing. It's a fantastic job. We all do it because we're fixers. We all do it because we have the betterment of human beings in mind. But we have to remember that we're also human and that we also have to look out for our own well-being. I feel like that's been a big struggle with a lot of things, a big push with mental health lately, with especially within this field. Uh, so being able to decompress in something that you actually find worth in, beyond the job.
Mhm.
And then same thing goes for the spouses. You know, nobody wants to be, oh, I'm that guy's wife, or I am a fire wife, or, you know, you're your own individual, and you have been before you met us.
Well, and I think it's really important for us to have an identity outside of the fire service because, yeah, we are more than a fire
Mhm.
wife. And when everything is for both of us is hinged on that life, well, when that life gets stressful, we're gonna have issues
Mhm.
because we don't have an escape from it.
Yeah, yeah. Don't have escape, and if that's the only pin holding y'all together, that's already stressed as is.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. So it's easy for it to creep in and become our identity. Or kind of like where we were just going with that thought, like it's like almost like it's the third wheel in our marriage. Like it's you, me, and the job. So how do we keep the department from being, that third person?
mhm. Um, I so finding things to do together outside of it is a great thing. If one of you has a hobby and the other one is potentially interested in that hobby, that is fantastic. If you
Even
can
if
do
you're
that,
horrible at it.
yeah. It's time together doing something that you both enjoy, that you can both make that connection again through. Um, I highly recommend. There's going to be people on this department that are going to be lifelong friends, especially in this career field. We found a few that we continuously hang out with. We did the same thing. I get to debrief with my buddy a little bit about what he does, how he ran things. We kind of bounce ideas off each other. We let them talk about what they need to do. Our kids are running around together, just kind of entertaining themselves.
Being feral.
But having that to connection of somebody who understands what you're going through because they're going through the exact same thing, and being able to bounce ideas and bounce and just live life together through that, but without
Mhm.
having the weight of trying to be perfect.
And I think it's important too to note, like, there's a lot of people that probably listen to this podcast, or we hope listen to this podcast, that may not have a department where you find people. Maybe it's a small department, maybe you're on a volunteer basis, whatever, insert your situation here, but you haven't found people to connect with. So if the great thing about the Fire Family Collective or social media is like we can connect with people who maybe aren't in our area.
Mhm.
And I've connected with some people that don't live by us at all, but I know that they still understand.
Mhm.
Um, and I think going back to like being the third person in your marriage, we had a conversation recently, just some stuff has been stressful at work and going on, that we finally said, hey, the job does not get to control our family. We're not going to let um, the job have control of our
Mhm.
family. And I think it's a choice you make. I think it's a very sneaky choice when it does control things in your
Mhm.
marriage, when it controls your attitude, when it controls what's going on at home. I don't think it comes in and you're just one day like, yeah, the job said this. Like, no, it
Mhm.
just sneaks in where you're prioritizing the job, or you've kind of had it more where the stress of the job and
Mhm.
things going on at work have just festered in your mind at home. And I have looked, there's been multiple times I've looked at you and said, hey, you're not really here.
Mhm.
And I don't know if like you notice it. Maybe you do notice it and you just don't know how to get out of it sometimes, or you don't notice how much it's bothering you. But it's important that you notice, we notice,
Mhm.
whatever, your marriage, you notice when the job is starting to take control of your marriage,
Which
when it's starting to take control of your family life at home and saying, nope, stop right there.
Mhm.
Yes, we love our fire family. You absolutely love your job. I love that you love your job. But it does not get to have control over our home.
Mhm.
So we've had many conversations about that.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a hard thing to sit yourself down and look at too, because the problems of other places shouldn't come home with you. And
Hmm.
that's one of the hardest things with this job is whether that's a call, whether that's the guys you work with, whether that's the department you're on, the city you work for, the county you work for.
Insert
Uh,
scenario here.
yes, whatever it may be, bringing that stress home is what breaks the rest of everything that
Hmm.
you care about.
And we've been talking to rookies a lot, or cadets
Mhm.
at the academy a lot about that. And like right now, they don't know. Right now, they're like, yeah, you say that. I'm never going to do that. And then,
We were the same way.
so that's really when you've been in the service, wives and the one that's on the department, reaching out to those newbies and saying, hey, it may not be bothering now and you think you're untouchable. Maybe don't phrase it that way. That sounds kind of rude. But um, hey, when this does happen, we're here.
Mhm.
We've been through it. We go through it constantly.
Yeah.
We're never going to stop going through it until you retire. And then still then we might,
Yeah.
Um, but hey, you've got your fire family. When this does happen, reach out to us
Yeah,
if you
absolutely.
need
And
us.
that's one of the greatest things about this job is you do get 2 families. Uh,
It's not just showing up at the bank 9 to 5.
yeah, it's one you pick and it's one you reluctantly decided to get roomed with essentially.
It's
But
our roommate. Okay. On that, I mean, marriage advice for rookies coming in this, what insert whatever we've talked about. Do you have
Mhm.
anything else you want to share?
uh, I mean, like I said, communication's your biggest friend. Having hard conversations is of course hard, but it does help.
Mhm.
That's just a growth part of living and
And if one of you is thinking it, the other one is either not noticing or they're thinking it too.
yeah. And there's still times it's like we don't tell each other things and we need to, and it'll build up for a while, and then we
Blow up.
blow up and we come back together afterwards and
Yeah.
figure it out. And
Yeah. Okay. So priority one, light sirens. No, I'm just kidding. That's so cheesy. I honestly love a cheesy name, but
priority
lightning
one,
round.
code
Here we
three,
go.
however you want to call it.
Whatever your department calls it. That's the thing too. I've learned through Fire Family Collective. There's like, for instance, you just tested for driver, which is what we call it here, and other departments call it operator or engineer. I'm like,
operator.
engineer sounds fancy. I don't know if you get that title.
It's just one of the things we get.
I think I'm just bitter because I have an enlightering degree. I'm like, you don't get that.
Yeah, that I teach
with.
I'm just trying to make the truck go wee woo. That's
just hoping for the best. Okay, so lightning round. I got some hopefully fun questions for you that you don't have to think. So fun. Okay, so what is one firehouse meal? Okay, you have two answers for this.
Okay.
One firehouse meal that you love to cook because you have become the cook at whichever station you're at, to be honest, when you're swinging. What is one that you love to cook, and what is the one most requested by the guys?
So that's another thing I just thought of for anybody out there who's getting into this.
Learn to cook.
If you can cook, you're going to be the favorite. If you can't cook, learn.
Okay, so funny. I'll be really quick with this. One of my brother's best friends growing up was on the department for a little while, and he can cook, and he had to learn to cook for himself. Because I think at one point he was vegan, and you have to cook at that point. Especially this was before like vegan food was really made. But his whole rookie year, he never cooked, and he like refused, and he kept telling him like, no, like I just don't cook. And I think one time he cooked and he made it just mediocre. So they were like, oh, he is not cooking anymore. And that's how, because once you show you can, like you unfortunately did, you get wrapped into it.
I did the same thing. We had, it took me 30 minutes to decide I wanted to make pork chops. So the guy said, you're never going to pick a meal again. And then I didn't have to my rookie year. I was just the sous chef, which was perfectly fine. But as far as like one of the most requested things, I'd make this tomato bacon jam that everybody seems to like. So that's usually what I try to.
Sorry, we have an intruder. Go out there with Sissy. She can open it.
It was a child.
Well, in this house, you never know. Okay, we're good. So, favorite firehouse meal?
Yeah. So going back to tomato bacon jam. So that's probably what I get requested the most. It's
just your tomato bacon jam.
Well, it
goes on something.
It goes on things. I make these burgers that are a little complex. The Italian sausage, hamburger meat, pepperonis
with fancy mozzarella.
Yeah, I make mozzarella patties and all kinds of stuff. So,
but that's not your favorite to make because you won't make it at home, so it's complicated.
It's just labor intensive, but it's one of those that if I feel like treating anybody, that's usually what I'll go with.
Great.
Yeah.
What is one thing that you wish every firewife knew about what happens on shift?
I kind of said it earlier. As much fun as we have at the fire station, we love being there. We would rather be home. It's just more, it's a job and it's a good job and it's fun and we get to have fun with everybody. But we still miss home. We still wish we were with you guys.
Yeah.
So,
what is one piece of station wisdom, I guess, that you would instill on a rookie coming in?
Biggest thing I can stand on is just be observant. Number one, know the expectations of what your department and specifically your crew want of you and figure that out fast. And then last, on top of that is just observe what's going on. If you realize that, my guys like to drink a pot of coffee after we hang out after lunch and, 2:00 rolls around, there's usually a pot of coffee getting made. Be the one to make it. Just pick up on that and it's going to be noticed and it's going to put that in their minds that you are figuring things out and that you want to be here so that when you do mess up, because you will, because that's why we're rookies first, you'll have things that they can fall back on. It's like, yeah, but he's really good around the station. He's trying, he knows he wants to be here. So
yeah. Okay, maybe a little more fun question. That was kind of serious. What is one guilty pleasure, I guess, that you do at the station that we don't do at home? Like maybe a show y'all watch or something that you do.
So I leave all the rom-coms and the dramas here. That's usually where
I watch
at.
them while you're on shift.
Yeah, I know. Probably the thing that I indulge in over there, we love to deep dive into conspiracy theories and conspiracy documentaries or YouTube shorts on things like that. That's where we lose ourselves. We go down the rabbit hole for a little bit.
You love to play a devil's advocate.
Oh, that's my favorite.
Whether you believe in it or not. Yeah, I guess flip side of that, my guilty pleasures, I watch all the medical shows when you're on shift. I think the only one that we can watch together is The Pit.
I've
If you
enjoyed
haven't
that
seen
one.
that, but
Not too bad, but
no
yeah.
Grey's Anatomy, no Station 19, no 911s. I will watch them by myself though, because I don't know any better.
No, it's hilarious to watch their attempt at medicine and fire and
Yeah. Love a good show. Okay, so last one, kind of your why, I guess. At the end of a long career, what do you want your legacy to be, both at the station, or on the department, and at home?
just hope that by the end of this, it's one of those that guys enjoyed working with me. I helped as many people as I came across that I was able to. And then home, I just want to build a strong relationship together, good kids that are going to go out and be good citizens in the world, and then hopefully be happy, healthy, and faithful
Yeah.
in whatever they decide to choose.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining me today.
Yeah,
That was kind of
I'm here every other day and
Yeah.
sometimes on the
I
weekends.
don't know how much
So
choice you have. Yeah. I'm here all day.
I chose to be here 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So
So thank y'all for joining the Fire Family Collective. We're glad that you were here today to listen to this episode. And like we said, keep that communication line open and keep your family strong. And if you don't have people to lean on, find those people. Thanks for joining us.